Hello and welcome to Shower Thoughts with Ontarion. So basically this is going to be like a free-form style of entertainment. You can call it a talk show. I think the main goal with this is to sort of create an environment where people can come and talk about their problems or their life stories or whatever they may be interested in. Whenever I happen to, talk with them or interview them. But yeah, this is the first episode here, so I'm just gonna be spitballing here. This is my first time doing this. But basically, I don't know. I have a list here of conversations that I've had with ChatGPT, so I'm going to be using that as sort of just a guide to discuss certain things. So a little bit of backstory about me. I was raised in South Jersey, by the water. If you're familiar with the Ocean City area, Atlantic City, I was raised like right across the bridge from there. And it's a great town. It's a great area. It's a small town. It was actually called Summers Point, where I was raised. I was born in where was I born? Haddonfield. That's it. Haddonfield, New Jersey. But I was raised in Summers Point, New Jersey. Both nice towns. There's ups and downs to that kind of stuff, but I do just have like a list of conversation topics here that I want to go over. There's just such a broad spectrum of topics that I want to get to. Some of the things I'm interested in are sort of like ufology. I'm into ancient worlds, ancient civilizations, like ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, ancient Greece, and stuff like that. I'm into philosophy a little bit, and I'm just into like really fringe theories. Also music. I love music. I started playing the trombone when I was, how old was I when I was in 4th grade when I started playing that, so however old that equates to, I don't really know, like maybe 10 or something, but yeah, I started playing the trombone, and I had a drum set in my basement growing up, so that was fun. I think I actually have tinnitus now because of that. There's a lot of things that might cause tinnitus, but I think that was like the main thing. I've always had like a connection with music, like a musical part of me that just is good, and I think that's good. I think more people should value music and experiment with music. And there's I played the trombone, the drums. I started playing the keyboard about 4 or 5 years ago, and since I had experience with the school band, I pretty much learned bass clef through the trombone, and then I had to learn treble clef when I would learn to play the keyboard. And then you have to incorporate the two together to obviously play the keyboard. You need both bass and treble clef. But I've always had a pull towards music. Karaoke is fun for me. I love singing karaoke. When I was younger, I was into skateboarding. I actually I broke my leg this one time. It was me and 2 buddies, and we went to this park in Sea Isle. New Jersey, which is like kind of like a beachy town near the water. And we went there, and there's this skate park, and there's this like little half pipe kind of thing, and it's like a small miniature half pipe, and I start doing rock to fakies just like repeatedly, and I'm like trying to see how many times I can do it before I mess it up. And I guess like the board slipped out from behind me, and I landed on, it was my tibia. And in case you don't know, like until you're fully grown, the tibia is like a little bit soft, I guess, and it's like more prone to being broken because it's just a soft bone before you reach adulthood. And so I was like, I was probably like 15 at the time, and the board slipped out behind me, and the way I landed was like I came clean down on the tibia, and it was a fractured tibia. But like my friends were there, and they didn't understand the like severity of the situation, so they just like started laughing at me, you know. And there was like a little kid there too, and I was trying to like coach him on, but he I don't know how old that kid was, probably like 7 or 8 years old, and I was like, hey, little dude, what's going on? And he's just like, I like give him a high five or whatever, you know. And then I broke my leg, and I just started screaming, like I was wailing. I was in so much pain. I mean, I think that's something maybe not everybody should experience, but like if you have experienced it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I was like writhing in pain. And this kid, and that kid I was talking about, he was there with his dad, and they like ran away. They like left the park when I like started screaming. Like they just got so freaked out. And like my friends were there, they were laughing at me, and I like couldn't walk on I like had to hop everywhere. And so they put me on a skateboard, and they like pushed me. They tried to like push me out of the park, like into his mom's car. And I couldn't even get my shoe on. Like I was just in so much pain. And then like to top it all off, you know, I get home, and like nobody like believed that like my leg could be broken for some reason. So they just like dropped me off, and they're like, all right, you're good. So I had like my skateboard and all my like backpack, and I had to like hop on one leg all the way to my front porch, and there was like stairs, so I had to go up the stairs on one leg. And then I get inside, and I'm like hopping around, and my dad's in there, and he's like, you know, he gets mad at me, you know, because I'd like fall over or whatever. I like knocked some stuff over. I think I like dropped my skateboard, and I fell. And he's like, well, you know, like, what are you doing? You know, you can't be making a racket over, you can't be making a mess or whatever. Like, I was just trying to, like, my leg was broken though, but nobody like believed me. So it took me like a few days to convince my mom that my leg was broken, because she just like wouldn't take me to the doctor. And then they did an x-ray, and they found out it was broken. So it was cool though. Like I think it ended up healing okay. It just like cracks a little bit, like my ankle cracks when I move it up and down. So that's okay. But yeah, no, I mean, like that was an experience for me. If you've never broken a bone, you're lucky, because that's really awful, I think. I'm trying to think of like more stories like that, and I'll get to like more stories. You know, that's just kind of like the tip of the iceberg. I could like talk about stuff like that for days, but yeah, I mean, I think what I want to do with this is whether you know, I guess essentially it's just a podcast. So what I can do is I can actually just interview close friends, and maybe, you know, just family, friends, whatever, and then I'll just have them explain. You know, we can kind of just bounce ideas off each other. They can tell me stories, or we can go into fringe theories or music, talk about music, or weightlifting or art or whatever, you know, is whatever needs to be discussed, we can we can do that, I think. All the important topics, I think, is what we will be covering mostly. If it's not important, you won't hear about it from me or from this channel. But there's a lot of cool stuff. Like lately, I've been into I started getting into like Montauk. I guess it's in New York, but it's technically on Long Island. It's at like the very edge, the eastern part, and it's called Camp Hero. And basically, there is like the concept of Stranger Things derives from or comes from theory, actual experiments they may have been doing there back in the 80s on kids. They were testing for telekinesis or psychic abilities in it was mostly children they were focusing on to see if they could manipulate time or manipulate energy fields. And I think time travel and interdimensional travel were some of the key aspects of what they were trying to accomplish. So it was just very interesting to me. I mean, there's a what they call hold on, and before I get to that, Camp Hero is it's like an old retired military base. So it's famous because it has a big block tower, and I'll put a picture of all this stuff on the screen. But there's like this tall, somewhat tall structure it's made of like concrete. And there's no windows, but it has a big satellite on the top, big satellite dish. And that's like the main thing. That's like the building where they say all this stuff pretty much went down. Because like if you use it's like geothermal or something kind of tracking, you can actually see the underground tunnels. Like we don't know what's exactly down there. But there's tunnels that run underground to this day, and we don't know what they're being used for, if they're even being used at all. So the whole theory is just really cool. The idea of the Demogorgon that you see in Stranger Things. Apparently there was a real entity that came through a portal in the 80s that was essentially the Demogorgon. It was from, they call it the Upside Down in the show, the dimension that it comes from, but in reality it could come from anywhere. Whether or not this happens is definitely up for debate. It's there's a lot of speculation involved, and stuff like this isn't so cut and dry where it's just going to be written in the history books. If it's stuff that certain people don't want made public for whatever reason, and then what's interesting too about the whole Montauk situation with the interdimensional travel and the kids and stuff is what was it? Interdimensional travel. Okay, it's what they call plausible deniability. Basically, whatever sector or faction of the government is in charge of whoever's funding. I guess it's Hollywood, right? So like, Stranger Things was made through Hollywood. So Hollywood was the producer of Stranger. I guess, I don't know. I should probably look that up. But whoever did it, it was commissioned most likely by some Congress members or somebody in the government to sort of create this narrative or this idea, cover up or like using plausible deniability. So the idea, I guess, was that if you if you make a silly TV show or movie, you know, like especially Stranger Things, especially, it's like this 80s retro thing with kids riding around on bikes, fighting interdimensional aliens, you know, it's like, now it's just a TV show, right? So if you try to talk about Montauk and you say there was an interdimensional portal, allegedly, that was opened, and a entity came through and it started killing people, like, you know, you sound fucking crazy. But, you know, there's been books written about this from people who were there firsthand, who witnessed, I think, what was going on there. And, you know, it's just talk, or it's just in writing. It's hard to prove. But, you know, when that's the concept of plausible deniability, is that when it's in a movie or a TV show or some other work of fiction, even though it may be based on real life events, now it's just a TV show. And this is also how they get people accustomed to the otherworldly, or the if there's something that the general public is gonna be maybe a little scared of, a little indifferent to, they will sort of implement these ideas in works of pop culture or in works of fiction to kind of ease the population into accepting the reality of things. So I think they did that with like MK Ultra. I know Project Stargate and MK Ultra are similar in terms of just having kids with these psychic abilities, doing these experiments on kids with these either telepathic or telekinesis or whatever it is, you know, these psychic abilities. And you know, they're trying to see what exactly they're capable of doing. So that's just like a fringe theory. And then there's like this Montauk monster. It's like essentially just a raccoon. It looks like it could be from another realm, but essentially I think what happened was there were these raccoons that eat crabs or stuff, you know, by the shore, and what ends up happening is they end up getting dragged out to sea or washed out to sea, and they get banged up against the jetty or the rocks or something, and they get all disfigured, and they look like a freaking like a monster. And I'll put a picture of what I'm talking about up on the screen, but they look, if you didn't know what you were looking at, you might assume it came from a different world or a different dimension. But even though, you know, if you take the skull, because the skull of the face is like decaying and wasting away, and you can see the under snout of the raccoon. And if you look at just, if you compare that picture of the Montauk monster with just a raccoon skull, you'll see the resemblance, you'll see the similarities between those two. It's like, okay, and it's got the tail just like a raccoon. I think raccoons have tails, don't they? Let me see. Yeah, they do. So yeah, I mean, it's just a raccoon. Either way, though, I think it's interesting that, you know, there's been multiple sightings of this so-called Montauk monster, you know, in that area of Long Island. Yeah, I mean, it's just could be a coincidence. I think there might be some symbolism there, you know. Like, if an interdimensional monster is coming through this portal, maybe he's eating the faces off these raccoons and just leaving their snout exposed and just leaving them out on the beach. I don't know. You know, like, why is there so many of these raccoon spottings in a place that's known to have interdimensional activity, and you don't really hear about it as much in other places? And it happens so much there that it even has a name, you know, the Montauk Monster. But I'm done talking about the Montauk Monster. I was gonna head up there actually, to Montauk. I don't know though if I should go. I was having second thoughts about Montauk. It's a little freaky, but you can just go there. What's interesting is that it's still technically government owned. It's private property, so it's all fenced off, and you're not allowed to if you go in if you get too close to that radar tower or that satellite dish tower where all this experimentation allegedly went down, that's off limits, and you'll get trespassed. You'll be arrested and prosecuted if they catch you. There was one explorer who actually went, I guess it was at night, and he hopped the fence and somehow got inside the satellite dish building, and he said he went underground and found tunnels where they may or may not have conducted these experiments. I don't know. I mean, I know there are some pictures of the inside. Most of them look pretty run down. So whether or not they're still using that for anything, I don't know. But I will say that there have been reports of armed guards, near the perimeter, or even inside, the area that's off limits. So the no trespassing zone. They've been in there. They've been close to the satellite tower, and whatever was going on there is very interesting, but we'll never know the full truth, I don't think. And then, there's a lot of fringe theories like this. We could talk about, Egypt or, or Rome or any, anything we don't have 100% clarity on. We don't know how the pyramids were built, and that could be a whole other topic of discussion. Maybe for another podcast. I'm trying to keep these limited to 20 minutes, and it's just weird. This is, like I said, it's like a free form style of talk show. But it's weird because I've just never done anything like this, and it's going to be interesting trying to find some guests to come on here to talk. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try to wrap it up here. I'm at 23 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep these limited to 20 minutes in the beginning, and then if it starts to catch on or whatever, I can always do longer form content or longer conversations or just talks. If it just has to be me here sitting here talking about whatever, I'll talk about whatever. And this is going on YouTube, so if I'm mostly going to be talking about fringe theories, I guess, and just life stories and stuff. I'm going to have people come on and talk about their life stories and their experiences as just being a human. So yeah, if there's something you want me to talk about, just leave a comment. I'll talk about anything. So I had that's I got a whole list of stuff to go yet, so I can always come up with more stuff, but yeah, that's it. I didn't really plan out a closing statement, but thanks for listening to me babble for it's been 25 minutes now. Yep, I'll catch you next time, I guess.